Ladies and gentlemen, Simgot is back into the under $100 budget IEM. And after 1 year of the release of their highly successful EW100P and EW200, which I reviewed almost 1 year ago, now we have the successor to EW200 and EW100. Let me introduce to you EW300 and also EW300 DSP. EW300 and EW300 DSP, which is this one, okay, cost start at $69.99 and you're gonna add a bit more, $10, $79.99 for the DSP module here, which comes with a dongle. Instead of a single DD, now EW300 comes with 3 drivers. Yes, it is a hybrid, which contains dynamic driver, magnetic planar driver, and piezoelectric driver with the impedance rating of 28 ohm and sensitivity above, or should I say 121 dB. You can expect this EW300 to be easy to drive. Both of them, regardless of which one you choose, would be offering this detachable tuning nozzle. Both of them identical, by the way, physically in many ways, except for the color and of course the termination and the cable itself. As you can see here, I have been able to wear this EW300 DSP, have been using it on regularly for the last few days on regular basis. I took it out for a spin walking around Kuala Lumpur, the city of Kuala Lumpur, just to test the comfort and the isolation. And I'd just like to clarify one thing, it is definitely comfortable. Okay, the design itself ergonomically is non-abrasive, non-offensive. I do not feel any kind of sharp edges or anything like that, despite being metal. However, I'd like to point out that the seal factor is almost non-existent. Yes, when I say non-existent, I think because of the nozzle change, the way it is being designed now. When I was wearing it, as you can see here, when I switch off the music, I was able to hear all sort of sound coming in. Ambient sound, this sound, that sound, everything. So if you're hoping for something which seals properly, EW300 is not one of them. With 28 ohm of impedance rating and 121 dB of sensitivity, which is rather high. So does this EW300, especially this one which comes with the 3.5 mm single-ended termination, the normal version, is it easy to drive, difficult to drive? I have tested it, and as usual with my Sony Xperia 1 Mark IV here, connect it directly to the 3.5 mm single-ended port here like this, and true indeed, it is definitely easy to drive. The kind of volume which I need was just at around 70 to 75% out of 100. It does scale really well as you improve the source. So just like, you know, if you are like a maniac like me who love to use, you know, different kind of audio devices, of course it sounded the best when I connect it to my digital audio player here, which is iBasso DX260. Okay, from the 3.5 mm single-ended and running in high gain mode. Also, it sounds exceedingly amazing when attached to 2 of my favorite dongle here, which are Onyx Alpha and iBasso DC07 Pro. And at the very least, I would highly recommend, if you are using the 3.5 mm single-ended termination especially, you should run it with this Venture Electronic Audio. On the other hand, if you opted for the EW300 DSP model, and because it comes only with a dedicated dongle, yes, as you can see here, when I attach this to my phone here, immediately what will happen is that even Hibi Music will detect it. So if I click OK here and open up Hibi Music app, what will happen is that it will show me that this particular EW300 DSP even comes with this Simgot EW300 DSP dongle. One of the key differences that this EW300 DSP version offer is, you see here, a microphone, inline microphone. So to test the performance of this microphone, I have decided to completely switch off my RØDE Wireless Pro here, which is the microphone which I normally use, and entirely record this session using this EW300 DSP directly recorded by my OBS software here to my desktop. So that's the best way to find out whether this thing is good or not, right? So you be the judge whether you like the output coming from this EW300 DSP. We already have Simgot EW200, which was highly successful, which was released almost like 1 year ago. I have reviewed it. It is super impressive. It is impressive not because I said it so, because so many people, so many users have echoed the same sentiment. EW300 was super impressive for the price of just under $40 US. Now the question is, does this EW300 and EW300 DSP here offer any kind of improvement, refinement over an existing already impressive EW200? And my short answer is yes. Let's just get into perspective. What sort of improvement are we talking about? Let's just start with the technology itself, the innovation which Simgot has managed to introduce into these two IEM in my hand right now. As I noted earlier, this is a hybrid or triple hybrid with 3 type of drivers inside it, and with the kind of tuning which Simgot is very well known of, you can expect maturity. So the first keyword here is maturity over the previous EW200, and the kind of maturity which I would associate even with the kind of Simgot EA500 LM or even Simgot EA500. Yes, instead of, let's say, playing middle ground between EW500 and even EW200, this EW300 is actually bridging up to a point that, offering the kind of performance which you can expect from EA500 LM with some differences. And one of the key reason why I mentioned it has the kind of, like, say, improvement is because I observed that the sound offer maturity in the way it handles the dynamic transient itself as opposed to EW200. So when I say maturity, you can expect cleaner handling, cleaner presentation of the way it present, anywhere from upper frequency, lower frequency to the highest frequency. Everything seems to be a bit tidier now, or more polished. Perhaps that's the correct keyword. And of course, when we talk about the extension itself, it pretty much still remains the same. The dynamic extension is not as far-reaching as, let's say, EA1000 or even the higher end of Simgot, but it is extended well enough to a point that I am not missing that much of micro detail. I think if you love vocal, you would love this EW300, especially this EW300, the basic edition. Why? Because when I subject this EW300 listening to several type of female vocal, especially, for example, like Diana Krall, Cine Egg, which are associated being contralto, low octave, chesty type of female vocal. It does sound a bit warm, but it is rich and dense and very engaging, very forward sounding. So if that is the sort of sound that you like, definitely you will love this EW300. And not just low octave type of vocal. We are also, let me just put it this way. It is also seems to be quite impressive with high pitch type, which is soprano, like Alison Krauss or even Mariah Carey, soprano alto. High pitch because of the kind of like slightly warmish presentation. So there's never a chance, right, that you can expect this EW300 to sound sibilant at all. In fact, the sharp edges of those female vocals sounded just sweet. That's the best way that I can describe it. It is rich, it is dense, it is sweet sounding. But the same cannot be said when talking about male vocals, because when I subject this EW300, it is not a bad thing. It is in fact a good thing because male vocal sounded transparent. And when I say transparent, it means that the male vocal does not appear to have any kind of warming effect or coloration. So as opposed to how I described it earlier with female vocal, this EW300 and even this DSP model, in fact, sounded pretty much, like I say, neutral, uncolored, transparent with the mid-range when it comes to male vocals, baritone or even tenor type. And surprisingly, perhaps pleasantly surprising, this EW300 is also quite capable at instruments when it comes to the mid-range itself. I listen a lot to classical, to string instrument, rock and metal. So anywhere from all type of genre which contain a lot of guitars. One of the reasons for that is because this EW300, as I noted earlier, is strong with the mid-range itself. So the quality of the mid-range is definitely the kind of quality which is an improvement over what EW200 has offered before. It is definitely on par now with EA500 LM type of quality. When it comes to upper frequency, you can expect maturity as well for this EW300, especially if you use the kind of nozzle which is the one that with the least dampening. So meaning that if you add more dampening to the nozzle itself, you may lose a bit of resolution with the upper frequency, but assuming that you are using the stock nozzle, you are already getting the kind of sparkle, the kind of macro detail and micro detail for the upper frequency, to a point that I would even associate the kind of quality which I would expect for IEM costing like $200. So that is definitely impressive. And lower frequency, now this is another one of my favorite. The good thing about this EW300 and this DSP model is that they do not sacrifice the sub bass. Yes, perhaps you might know that I am not a fan of Harman tuning, but surprisingly, I have found that this EW300 especially offer proper balance between mid bass and sub bass. So I get impactful, punchy, clean sounding, fast sounding mid bass, which offer the kind of sub bass decay which is also very sweet sounding. So it is definitely suitable for rock and metal music. It is definitely suitable for percussion music or even string bass, and it is definitely suitable for electronic music as well. Technically, this EW300, especially when attached to highly capable partners, can be quite analytical. So when I say analytical, you can expect excellent resolution, imaging, layering, separation, all those sort of things. And even the EW300 DSP also exhibit to a certain degree competency with all those technical elements. So when we talk about technicalities, the most prominent thing would be the soundstage. Now I must admit it is kind of a bit more circular rather than wide open sounding, but it is definitely open sounding. When I say circular, it also means that it is highly holographic. So holographic means that I have tested it with gaming. I have played my favorite game, especially Starfield, and I was in fact very impressed with the kind of immersion factor that it offers, and also pinpoint accuracy to a point that I was able to track footsteps, was able to track shots, direction. And so that is the sort of thing which makes this EW300 and even this EW300 DSP highly suitable for gaming, binaural type of music, and even movie. Should you upgrade from EW200 to EW300 if you are an existing user of EW200? And my short answer is yes. I do feel that the kind of refinement, performance upgrade offered by this EW300 justify the double the price, because what you're gonna get is something which is definitely wholesome in every way. The way it performs the sound, the technicalities, the versatility of this EW300 is definitely among the very best for under $100 this year. And now, the next question you might be asking, which one should I go for then? Is it going to be like the standard EW300 or even EW300 DSP? So it depends on your situation. I have shown you earlier that this EW300 here is super versatile, especially when scaled with different type of sound partner, and the keyword here is versatile, which means that just like a traditional IEM, you can expect different sort of sound experience as you change different kind of sources. And you go for DSP model if you need, first and foremost, microphone, and then secondly, versatility when attached to different type of, let's say PC, phone or anything, and expect consistent performance from this EW300. So it will always sound the same regardless where you plug it in. And it is definitely also more mobile, especially considering that you can still use the microphone even when using your phone. All in all, I would just simply say that Simgot did it again. Okay, they are on a roll. They know how to tune good sounding IEM, and they have been able to keep the price reasonable at under 100 US dollar, because to be honest with you, the kind of sound quality which I'm getting from these two are the kind of sound quality which I would expect from IEM costing up to 200 US dollar. So that it is no-brainer there. These two are definitely one of the best deal for 2024.